Is the tool that's supposed to make you a genius actually making you a liability? Why are the world's most productive developers suddenly failing basic comprehension tests at record rates? So if I handed you the world's most advanced pneumatic nail gun, could you actually build a sturdy home, or would you just be making holes faster? We're entering a dangerous era of understanding debt, where the code is flying out, but the knowledge is being left behind. So today, I'm going to break down why AI is the ultimate double-edged sword and how you can stay on the winning side in this 2026 tech curve. Let's dive into this today. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we love to build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right. So I've got some other announcements for you here that I think is pretty interesting, and we're going to dive into this here in a second. But the AI hype machine has been running in total overdrive, but reality is starting to set in. So we were told that AI would replace 80% of us by now, right? But tech companies are actually hiring more developers than ever because the human element is irreplaceable. So we're going to look at some of the telltale signs of why you might be leaning on a crutch instead of using it as a good tool. So let's go over here and take a look at one of the first big announcements. So IBM said it's set to triple entry-level hiring as AI rewrites junior roles. It said it will triple entry-level hiring in the United States in 2026, even as artificial intelligence reshapes the tasks traditionally assigned to new graduates. The expansion will be across the board, affecting a wide range of departments. Speaking at a conference in New York, IBM Chief Human Resource Officer said the company overhauled entry-level job descriptions for software developers and other roles to support the recruitment push. She said entry-level jobs from 2 to 3 years ago can now largely be performed by AI, but they reported that junior software developers at IBM now spend less time on routine coding, which AI tools can handle, and more time working directly with customers. So in human resources, entry-level staff are increasingly tasked with intervening when HR chatbots fall short, which correcting the output and communicating with managers as needed. The hiring push comes as broader concerns mount about whether AI will reduce opportunities for early careers. But they also noted that executives have warned that a significant share of entry-level job offices could disappear, but IBM is betting on the opposite, right? They're reporting that Dropbox plans to expand its internship and new graduate program by 25%, right? So we're seeing a lot of people start to grow. Here at Startup Hack, we're really growing with our registered apprentices. So we actually are taking on apprentices, people who want to learn to develop. So if you're in Utah and Idaho, check out startuphack.com/jobs because we're working to hire folks here and to train them up on the job. So let's jump into some of this here, because here's the thing. Code is cheap, show me the talk. So the long part of this is that software development, as it has been for decades, is over. LLM coding tools have changed it fundamentally for better or for worse. Now, like Linus Torvald from from 2000, talk is cheap, show me the code, right? But that's really the part that we're getting to here, right? Software, as it has been, is totally changing, right? And we all know that, right? If you've been anywhere in the industry right now, you definitely know that the tools to write software are enabling you to write software faster. Now, is that good? That's the big question. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So again, as always, best thing, leave me a comment. Now, barring a bunch of obvious objection 101s here, there's no universal measure of what makes code base good or great. Styles, et cetera, et cetera. For a software developer like me, historically, there's been a few rule of thumb indicators for quick evaluation of software. When I evaluate a open source software project, I look at a bunch of factors, all a mix of objective and subjective, weighing differently under different contexts. So he said, historically, it would have taken a reasonably long period of consistent effort, then many iterations of refinement for a good developer to produce 10,000 lines of code quality. While the number of lines of code is not a measure of good quality, it is often the inverse. A code base with good quality, 10,000 lines of code, indicated significant time, effort, focus, patience, etc. Now, LLMs can not only one-shot generate that in seconds, they can handle many technical aspects of software development workflow. But as a developer with a bottomless wish list of things I wish I could have done and tried out, I have been able to use LLM tools to not just rapidly prototype and validate complex ideas, but actually write good quality production grade software. Now, the slop. Given all that, what is the value of code as an artifact when it can be generated at an industrial scale within seconds by someone who's never written any code? So he said, the reality is a significant majority of code written by humans globally on a daily basis is likely borderline junk. Software development is not even a discipline that has reached any objective level of maturity. Medical doctors and civil engineers go through rigorous training. The world runs on, shoddy engineering, poorly cobbled together, bloated systems, etc. One could, to trigger emotions, argue that AI slop is at least neatly formatted, well documented, or more systematically consistent than the vast majority of human written code. But kidding aside, I'm no fan of AI slop, nor am I. So he goes on to just kind of say here, and he goes through a lot of different things with like open source and a lot of that. But in the end, he says, conventional software development methodologies and roles, waterfall to agile, developed to test, developer to tester, have fundamentally changed with traditional boundaries, consolidating into unimaginably fast, compressed, blurry, iterative, agentic loops. The dynamic of people, organizations, and public committees in software development, the very human incentives for sharing and collaboration are all changing. For the first time ever, good talk is exponentially more valuable than good code. Now, I'm going to beg to differ with him just slightly there. The ramifications of this is significant and disruptive. He's saying this time is different. Now, I want to give you another example of where this becomes really dangerous, though, right? So this author here said if we were coding in December 2025, remember Google's anti-gravity, their coolest, the free agent ID. So Google rolls out anti-gravity, kind of their Claude Code competitor, right? Working with Gemini 3. And they roll it out. And at first, they got everybody hooked. They let you use it unthrottled, meaning they had no limits on it, right? It was great. Didn't like you had your pro subscription, boom, you were good to go. This morning, I opened the IDE to start my workday. I checked my anti-gravity quota monitor, the extension that we all installed because Google's native UI hides the limits. Usually I see green bars, I see abundance. Today I see exhausted. I hopped on the support channel. He looks at this, da-da-da-da. Now, the part that's really funny about this, though, is so basically they rug pulled him and they started actually putting in limits like Claude Code and everybody else. The dream of agentic development isn't dead, but the free version is. I'm currently staring at a code base that I don't fully understand because I let agents write 40% of it. And there is the crutch. See, when it's 2 a.m. and there's a bug in production and you can't point Claude Code at your code in production and figure out what broke, you're going to have to be figuring out, and you're going to be like this guy sitting here staring at code that you didn't write. And that is the crutch, right? That's where we see the biggest problem with AI development right now. So this article talks about a tweet from Andre Karpathy that talks about becoming a 10x of engineering, right? And I've talked about this a little bit here on the channel before. But he talks about how to become a 10x engineer, because he's saying that, if you're he's saying that basically, speaking of the best 10x engineers can lead one to think that engineers now are the same as the future top engineers. I think it's a trap. Some crucial skills will be the same, but others will be different. For example, I suspect that your stamina and work ethic will become more important to one's output. Now, let's talk about this here, because this is a big, long thing, and we could spend the whole time going over this tweet from Andre Karpathy, but this is the beginning part of it here. He says, given the latest shift in LLM coding capabilities, like many others, I rapidly went from about 80% manual plus autocomplete coding and 20% agents in November to 80% agent coding and 20% edits and touch-ups in December, i.e., I really am mostly programming in English now, a bit sheepishly telling the LM what code to write. Now, to be fair, Andre Karpathy was always a manager and more to the data science. He really wasn't a coder. Now, smart dude, right? Clearly, Andre's, super smart guy. But he really was never really a software developer. But he does talk a little bit about that it hurts to let go of the ego. And I kind of get that. Like, I know that there's some devs that are just like, no, I like writing the code. And like, that's great. Write the code then. But my point to this is that we are seeing this shift and this change. And clearly, the writing code, the cheap part, right? Like the title says here. So code is cheap, right? And that's the problem. We are now at a point where generating hundreds of thousands of lines of code costs virtually nothing. So this one says, we're all developers now. Why the wall? Because that's the biggest lie of AI. You're not all developers. Just because you can talk to a system and it can write you code does not make you a developer. Now, I've used this analogy on my channel before, but those who haven't heard it, I've gotten compliments on the analogy, so we'll use it again. I'm good at building software. I'm good at building hardware, right? You look at like the servers back behind me. I'm good at the combination of server plus software plus managing teams plus architecting. Those are my skill sets. What I cannot do is I cannot build you a house. So you can give me a hammer and a nail, and I could probably hammer you together a couple boards, right? Give me an automatic nail gun, and I could nail those boards together a lot faster, but I still can't build you a house, right? So just because I can nail boards together faster does not necessarily make me a carpenter, and definitely doesn't make me one who knows how to build a whole house. So just because you can hand somebody a tool that's going to generate a whole bunch of code for them, that does not make them a software engineer. So that's the part that I'm trying to get to here, right? Is that what we need to do is we need to be very careful to make sure that we are not this developer who's sitting there staring at 40% of their code that they don't know or understand, or even worse, more. So I want to read through this here because I think Gupta is totally spot on. Anthropic just released the receipts on a fear that everyone's been hand-waving. 52 engineers learning a new Python library. AI group scored 50% on comprehensive tests. Manual coding group scored 67%. That's a 17% gap on foundational skills, and debugging showed the steepest decline. The productivity trade looked even worse. The AI group finished with only 2 minutes faster on average, and that difference didn't reach statistical significance. Several developers spent up to 30% of their time just composing queries. Here's what actually matters. They identified 3 failure patterns that predicted sub 40% scores. Fully dedicating code to AI. This is one of them. Starting independently but progressively offloading work. Using AI as a debugging crutch without building understanding. All 3 share a common thread. Removing the cognitive struggle that produces learning. The high scorers, 65 plus, did something different. Some generated code first, then asked follow-up questions to understand what they'd produced. Others requested explanation alongside the code. The fastest group asked only conceptual questions, then coded independently while troubleshooting their own errors, okay? Now, fast does not necessarily equate to the best developer. The gap between AI makes you faster and AI helps you learn turns out to be enormous, and most workflows are optimized entirely for the former. So, as a developer, if you want to become a good developer, go with the AI makes you faster. That's important. AI is a very powerful tool. You can nail those boards together faster, right? But if you don't learn how to build the house, if you don't use AI to help you learn, then you're just going to let it become a crutch, and you're going to become that developer who's someday staring at a code base, being required to make a fix or a change, and you're not going to know how to do it. This is why you've got to do the AI learns faster. I think this is what IBM is realizing, right? IBM's no sludge to this. They're, one of the oldest corporations. They're still around. We could love them, hate them. There's a lot we could bash on or praise for a long time with IBM. At any rate, they've been producing developers a lot longer than almost any other organization out there. I think that they are realizing this point, that they can use AI to make their developers faster. They can also use it to help their developers to learn faster. That's, I think, the important part, and I think they know how to do this. Because, see, what we're seeing is this K-shaped future, right? Let me get my head out of the way here for a minute here. We're seeing a K-shaped future, and what this means is that the juniors are getting worse because they're starting to rely more and more on these AI tools, whereas the seniors are becoming better because they know how to use the AI tool to produce code faster. So what we want to do is get to a point where we are taking the juniors and helping them get onto the same trend as the seniors by helping them to learn to use AI to learn, not just to use it to make them faster, but to use it to learn. See, everybody has started at one point, right? And everybody has to be new. And if we can stop investing in the juniors in our field, we're definitely going to see the field evaporate and go away. That's not good for anybody. So the goal isn't to stop using AI, but to stop letting it blindly drive your development process. See, we want to use AI as a sparring partner to challenge your logic and explore alternative patterns, not as a replacement for your brain. You want to focus on building specialized skills that AI can't easily replicate, like deep domain expertise and complex system design, right? It doesn't do very well at understanding all the different microservices, right? You want to be able to know that, and that's where that deep domain experience comes in, right? So so we're moving towards a future of AI coworkers, not replacements, where the best humans lead the charge and then have that AI developer that can help them with all the grunt work. So, I've been building on Linux for a long time, right? These systems here that we're building out some AI systems for clients, right? These are actual client machines that we're building out some AI workstations and some AI servers for to do some, back-end AI processing, which is really one of our specialties. I've been building on these Linux systems for a long time. And anybody who knows and who's built Linux for a long time know that every once in a while you run into this thing that like, it just doesn't work. Linux is simple until it's not, and then it gets really complex. And the more you understand, the more you can learn it. But what's really powerful now is I can take a screenshot of something and immediately, like I can even just grab my phone, take a screenshot of a console, upload it to Gemini, and Gemini will give me a series of suggestions of things to try. And frequently, it'll give me 3 or 4 things to try. And as I try 1 or 2 of them, they frequently won't work, but then the third one will. Now, I could have sludged through, blogs and things and tried to find that, but that would have taken forever. So this is where AI can make you faster. Now, I could just get one of the plugins for CLIs, plug it in, but these are sensitive servers with sensitive data. I'm not going to just connect this to a CLI and let it run wild. But that's where the AI can help me to learn. And then once I find that fix, I catalog it, both in my brain as well as also actually cataloging that, hey, if I hit this error, this is this problem. But this is an example of where you can take AI to make you faster, and you can take AI to learn faster. Those are 2 different things, right? Kind of the teach the man to fish, but a little different, because instead you're just like teaching the man how to get the fish to fly to him, right? So there's a lot of power in these new AI tools. But in the same way is that if you don't learn basic software development practices, if you're not still following all the same fundamentals, you're still going to get bit, the same as if you'd been copying and pasting code off of Stack Overflow 10 years ago. It's no different. Slop is still slop. And if that's what you're producing and you're checking in, you're still going to have problems. You're still going to have security vulnerabilities. So the more that we let that K-shaped curve go down and we let these junior developers or even senior developers use AI as a crutch, we're going to continue to see problems in the industry. Now, curious to hear what you guys think. Do you guys think I'm wrong? Love to hear your perspective. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Make sure you leave a comment down below and make sure you like and subscribe. Here at Starter Pack, we love to build custom software solutions for companies. So check out our services because we'd love to be able to help you out.
Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment. Perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out starterpack.com.